We are live. We are live. We are on our best decorum. And
You're not supposed to be home.
oh, sorry. These used to be so serious. We
It's
would
too
sit
hot.
down and we would say, we will see to you in the first, fourth, and fifth instance. However,
Thank you.
we will
go.
receive you on the 27th, 28th, and 29th.
Do you want us to be that way? We can.
I think it's more constructive. Anyway, this is H.933. This is the miscellaneous tax bill. And a large number of the changes we made were the request of the tax department, and you would ask to hear from them. And Rebecca's here. Rebecca, can you explain why we did all?
And I will save Rebecca's breath if she wants me to say we heard from them, I think, on the first four.
Okay. Three.
I am personally mostly curious about concerns about implementing the pilot.
Yeah, apologies. I didn't for some reason bring anything useful like a section to a section, but
What's the section?
Later on.
50.
15, yeah. 50,
oh yeah.
That was added by floor amendment. All right. Yes. That.
Yeah, and for the record, Rebecca Samrock, Deputy Commissioner, Department of Taxes. Yeah, and I'm happy to speak to section 50. Thank you so much. This is was a floor amendment coming out of the Senate that created a trigger in the pilot fund of $18 million. And that would be after the pilot fund had paid all the expenses that need to for the fiscal year. If the remaining surplus was greater than $18 million, that would trigger an additional 5% disbursement to local option towns. So their revenue share would be 80% instead of 75% for the following fiscal year. And that would be effective for the coming fiscal 27, as I understand it. So there's no particular policy complication for us in changing the local option tax distribution, but this framework of having it be something that could change back and forth annually is not something that we would recommend, just because that's like, it really is like true new development work every year. So, it's just kind of like passing a fresh policy every year, and it's a bit of a lift at the department. I'm saying this is not impossible to implement by any means, but just, we usually have opportunity to chat with many members about this. So appreciate the opportunity here. Because this happened on the floor, we haven't gotten a chance to just like flag some things that we would like to on the record. So, just one being that this is takes development work in our system, and then separately in the disbursement reports that go out to towns, it's like a reprogramming effort. So if there was a scenario where, a trigger in that fund was flipping it back and forth year to year, that's just a lot of lift for the department and more, opportunities to get something wrong. In implementing this, the timing is going to feel a little weird for towns if this trigger gets met too, because these splits are applied to the tax period. So like the month of tax collection. So starting in July of the following fiscal year, that's when, any sales that year would be generating this new 80% split. And so we disperse revenue to towns quarterly. So you would have like this trigger flip at the end of June, and then towns would get an August payment for their last quarter of sales. So that would be back at the 75%. And then in November, they would get the first disbursement at the new split, capturing like the July, August, September sales. And so then they would have 4 disbursements of that, and then potentially flip back or not the old one. So just flagging, that would be a little awkward having one more quarter of payments at the old rate and then switching back to the new rate. And just wanted to flag also something we're experiencing now and is generating a bit of back and forth with towns. Just because we just went through this transitioning from 70 to 75% The disbursement reports do have a blended rate because every time a business goes back to amend a past return, the revenue share that applies during the period that amendment is the one that gets applied. So, whereas towns for years are used to seeing, math on these disbursement reports that, just like always add up to 70% of, one value. Now it's a little bit of a mix between like 70 and 75, which it will be for the next 3 years, because that's the statute of limitations where businesses can go back and amend or get a refund for past period. So in a situation like this, we would just kind of be like, continuing that blended disbursement report, potentially in perpetuity, depending on how often this trigger is being hit. So just, wanted to flag that it feels like a cumbersome mechanism to get more money to municipalities.
The cushion falls below 18 million, then the disbursement goes back to 75. So it could zigzag. There was a lot of discussion on the floor on this one, a lot more than anything else in this bill. That we have, because these are the towns that are raising the money. And they used to be just the big towns. Now, little towns, because of online sales, think they might make a couple $100, maybe a couple thousand. So why? But that's adding again. And the concern was there are other towns that get the pilot payment. They aren't the generators, they're the receivers. Sometimes they're both that have not received a full payment until last year, the year before. They get calculated at with the CLA and everything else. Some of them are long-standing separate agreements like UVM that has not been increased in, I think, something like 30 years. There are concerns about those towns who are sometimes small and need revenue. And then there are probably some towns that have nothing, that are not putting in a local option tax, because they may not even have a general store, and they may not have state land, but they have local roads, and they have services they need to provide. And so we've got kind of this hodgepodge system of trying to provide some state aid to towns. And it was a floor amendment. This was a compromise with having the cushion there, because at this point, we just went to the 75%. We don't know what impact that will have on the fund going forward. And do you need to go?
Oh, sure.
Probably.
Yes.
Okay. And we don't know, if inflation increases, consumer spending may drop noticeably, and that will have another impact. So,
I have lots of thoughts about that.
okay.
And I think we have to go vote.
Okay, go both. Do you want us to wait for you?
Yep. I don't think that way. I mean, it takes a little while. Okay. Well, you're first.
Canfield.
We're right next to each other, so we can come after Kay's.
Yeah, I mean, we have
How
to make
about
some
we hang around
Yeah.
at 4:30
Okay,
if you're
cool.
not back?
Great. I'll leave my stuff here at the